I'm here with my friend Dan Locke, and we're going to be talking about today, though, how to make six figures, 3 easy ways to do it. Okay, so 3 easy ways to make 6 figures. You're going to want to listen, even if you're making more than 6 figures, because I know some of you are, because Dan's got that covered. He promised me that he's going to tell you what you guys need to do to up that even more. You might be wondering also why I'm holding this. I'm going to tell you at the end of this video, so you're going to want to stay tuned. And you also probably want to check out, if you haven't already seen it, the longer video I did with Dan, where he goes through his whole background, how he retired young, what happened after that, and how he made his money. It's really good. Tell me, is it simple to make 6 figures?
You think about in terms of making money, you can start your own business, right? But within what we're talking about today, let's talk about what I call the high income skills versus high income professions versus high income job.
Okay,
let's talk about high income job, the first way.
Sure.
So high income job, I think we're all familiar with it. Let's say if you're working for a big company, right?
Right.
Or you're working for a Fortune 500 company, that maybe if you're starting off at a junior position, you climb that corporate ladder, right?
Okay, yeah.
With eventually you get to maybe a management position or something like an executive position, you might make that 6-figure income. Now, high income job is company specific.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Meaning you work for this company, you work for this company, you work for that company. Now, but the minute you leave that company,
right,
your income goes from this to this.
Okay, this is when the people jump out the windows.
That's right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, maybe with technology changes, that company, they call that corporate restructuring.
Right.
Meaning they lay off a bunch of people. That's what it means. They fire a bunch of people. So maybe they haven't done anything wrong.
Okay.
They are just, now the industry has changed. Suddenly what was required of them is no longer required.
Right.
And you see it on the news all the time, right? Hundreds of people, thousands of people lose their jobs overnight.
Right.
Because it's company specific.
Okay, sure.
Right? So if you have a high income job right now, that's perfectly fine. But knowing the pros and cons, right? You are basically betting everything on one company.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that, just knowing that's what you're doing, right? And then you have what I call high income profession.
Okay.
Now, high income profession is industry specific.
Okay, sure.
Industry specific. So let's say maybe you are a programmer, right? You're a coder, right? You're doing that for a certain industry, or you program for like video games, right? You can do that. You are an animator.
Okay.
You are a real estate agent.
Sure, okay,
right? That's a high income profession.
Okay, yeah.
And maybe you're a dentist, you're an engineer. So the problem with a high income profession is, because it is industry specific, usually it requires a lot of education.
Okay, right.
Formal education. Let's say if I want to be a dentist, yes, I can make 6-figure income doing it. However, it would take me 6, 7, 8 years in medical school, right? I need to study, I need to borrow money, student loan and all that stuff, right? To earn that piece of paper.
Sure.
So I can operate in this profession. Problem is, when you leave the profession,
right, yeah,
it's the same problem. Because let's say you're a dentist, suddenly you want to go to be a chiropractor. Everything that you accumulate, everything you've studied, that means nothing in a different industry.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Your experience means very little in a different industry, right?
Right.
Now, the problem with that, one of the things I teach my students is, let's say you have a high income profession right now. Let's say you're a real estate agent.
Okay.
You are doing listings, you're selling properties, you're doing all of that. That's nice, but what happens if there is a slowdown in the marketplace?
Right, okay.
You're putting all your eggs in one basket in one city.
Right.
Right? And then things change. Market goes through a cycle. Suddenly when something changes, you are screwed.
Right, exactly, yeah.
You are screwed,
yeah,
right?
and it's out of your control.
It's out of control. It has nothing to do. You're just as a good realtor as before,
right,
but no one is buying, no one is selling.
Right.
Like Vancouver is a perfect example. Not long ago, the market was so crazy, now the market is dead.
Right, okay, yeah.
Perfect example of that. Then you have high income skill now. This is completely different.
Okay.
A high income skill, it's not industry specific, it's not company specific. It gives you much more flexibility, such as what we're talking about. It could be my very first high income skill, copywriting.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
Not industry specific.
You could use that everywhere. I can write copy for any companies.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Yeah.
I can write for this. I can write it for this industry. let's say the fitness industry.
Right.
I can write it for the dating industry. I can write it for an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And I could do it from the comfort of my own home. I can do it in Vancouver. I can do it in Los Angeles. I can do it in California. It doesn't matter where they are.
Right.
Right now, this gives you flexibility because a skill versus a profession versus a job you're dictated, how much you earn is dictated by your boss,
Right.
your upper management.
Right,
They
exactly.
dictate how much you are worth.
Right.
In other words, right? I think you're worth this much. This is your salary, right? This is dictated very much by the high income profession by your credentials.
Okay. Yeah.
Usually, the more letters, the more money you make.
Right. Yeah.
Usually, right? Or experience too. High income skill is not dictated by any of those things. The only thing that determines how much you make from a high income skill is the marketplace.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
How much someone is willing to pay you in exchange of your skill. The one thing only.
Right. Okay.
So then you think about your high income skill. Not only is it flexible, but also I could stack my success.
Okay. Explain that.
So skill is transferable.
Okay.
Job and profession is not.
Oh, I see. Okay. I
It's
think I
not
understand where you're going.
transferable.
Yeah.
So remember if you watch that video, the first high income skill that I developed was copywriting.
Right. Okay.
That's my first skill set.
Sure.
The second skill is consulting.
Oh, I see.
You
I
see
where
how
you're
I
going now.
have
Exactly.
one skill that's successful,
Right.
that's making me money, generating high income. I can stack that on the second skill that actually makes the first skill even more valuable.
Right.
Right? And then I can stack the next skill on it that actually makes the second skill even more valuable.
Right.
So they all work together versus working in silo.
Sure. Okay.
So let's say the better I am with, let's say, marketing,
Right.
when I add public speaking on top of it,
Right.
that makes me more high in demand in terms of a public speaker, so I could charge more money.
I see.
You see how that works, right?
Yeah, because you can use that marketing skill.
That's right.
To let more people know about your public speaking.
That's right.
Right, and then you use that public speaking skill to actually make the money when
That's
people
right.
pay you to do the thing
That's
because
right.
you're good
Which
at it.
you cannot do with a high income profession,
Right.
which you cannot do with a high income job.
And you could add the copywriting to the beginning of that.
In the beginning of that.
Yeah.
So when one thing gets stronger,
Okay.
everything gets stronger.
Right. Okay.
And now you have this very powerful positive momentum that's going, right?
Okay.
So that's the power of a high income skill. And there are many, many different forms of high income skill. Depends on if, let's say you're a coder,
Right.
you could have a high income job, let's say you're working for Microsoft.
Okay.
That's fine, right? You can also be an independent coder, right? Where
Right.
you code for a certain industry, you are more like a freelancer, that's perfectly fine.
Sure.
Or you can also transition that into kind of like a high income skill. Maybe you're making $10,000 a month. And I define high income skill as a skill that can make you $10,000 or more per month, right?
Right.
That's my definition. So you could do that as well. So a lot of times it depends on how you do it.
Yeah.
It depends on how you do it.
I got a perfect example for you. Exactly what you just said here, right? Because I started out as a coder, okay, and I started out working for a company, and I made maybe 100,000, 120,000 max. Then I started
High
getting
income job.
Exactly. I started getting paid as a freelancer.
Yeah.
And I could make 200,000, but I was kind of capped there.
Yes.
But then guess what I started doing? Is I started teaching developers how to code. I started writing courses on how. My skill was to teach. That high income skill of
Yes.
learning how to record and teach and present. Now I was making $1 million. Now that's the first time my net worth ever went over $1 million.
Yes.
And I had made $1 million of income in a year was from doing that.
Which is kind of doing the same thing. So it's
Right.
not what you do, it's how you do it. Then transition to this. More than that, you basically turn your skill into now package that you productize it, right?
Right, exactly.
Productize
Yeah.
it. That's the difference. So it's high income skill. So I want you to think about if you have a high income job right now, you have a high income profession, you have a high income skill. Nothing wrong with having a high income profession.
Right.
But I do have a lot of students come to me, they have a high income profession. But I say have a high income skill on the side as your safety net.
Sure, exactly.
Because this thing will change. I guarantee you this thing will change, right? That it's only a matter of time. But when you don't have a high income skill to fall back on, when this changes, the market changes or whatever it is,
Right.
you got no backup plan. But if your high income skill, perfect example. So we teach high ticket closing. That's what I teach, right?
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Which is how to close for influencers, high ticket products and services. So imagine a real estate agent Someone, let's say he or she's making $100,000 a year. That's cool.
Okay.
As a real estate agent. But on the side, he or she's also doing a little bit of high-tier closing on the side.
Okay.
For other people in another city.
Right,
over the phone.
Sure.
When something changes, let's say suddenly the market slows down, okay, her income from real estate went from, let's say 100,000 to like 20,000 now.
Okay, sure.
All he or she has to do is we allocate some of that time and resources to this.
Right.
And now, you know what, I want to do more of this full time. You're okay.
Okay, and then they can still be using that closing skill in their real estate business
enhance
as
what
well.
they do.
Right, okay.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's what's not being taught in school.
Yeah.
The school wants you to have a high-income job. The school wants you to have a high-income profession. School doesn't want to have your high-income skill. Do you know why?
But why?
Because the school system is not designed to free you.
Right.
It's designed to imprison you.
To create workers, good
Yes.
workers, yep.
So you want a high-income job.
Yeah.
Get a 30-year mortgage, perfect.
Right. Sure.
Then you're in prison your whole life, right? High-income profession, even worse.
Right.
Because you need to spend way much more money to get that piece of paper, to get the degree, to get the master, right? And from there, you're already hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan. Takes you years to pay that off. And you get married, have kids, now you add another mortgage. This is the middle class.
Exactly, yeah, and you're trapped.
You're trapped.
Yeah.
You're trapped. Then how do you get out? This high-income skill gives you flexibility. This frees you.
Right.
Because I can work anywhere in the world. I can work in any industry. I can work in any city. I can work with any company. They don't want that.
Right.
Because they cannot control this.
Exactly.
Corporations cannot control this. They want you to stay in these two lanes and not this particular lane. So that's why it's not taught in school.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree 100%. It makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. Again, like I said, even from my own experience, the way that you explain that, in fact, I'd be curious to see, honestly, guys, what do you guys think? Which one of the three? Are you, honestly, okay, I'm gonna put a poll up here and I wanna know, honestly, would you really consider that you have a high income profession, a high income skill, or a high income job, right?
Yeah.
And the answer to that will be which one makes you the money, the real money that you rely on.
And not all money is created equal, right? I always say it's not just how much money you make, it's how you make the money.
Right.
You could be making $120,000 a year with the same thing. It's a very different thing.
For sure.
You make $120K with a high income job, $120K with a high income profession, $120K with a high income skill. It's a completely different thing. It's a completely different lifestyle.
Right, yeah.
Although it's the same 120K, it's not the same, right? So it's not just how much money you make, it's how you make the money.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dan. You guys also, we're going to be talking about, Dan's going to give some more knowledge in some of the upcoming videos, so make sure that you stay tuned and subscribe. And you've been probably wondering why I'm holding up this book. I've got something for you that Dan has actually been so gracious to give away, which is a copy of this book. You've probably seen my review on this, F You Money. I love it. It's awesome. This is one of those books that I listen to on one of my runs. So he's got the audio version as well. But he's going to give this away for free if you sign up now for this masterclass. It's a totally free masterclass that Dan and I are going to be putting on together, where Dan is going to share a lot more of this knowledge that you're hearing him talk about here, a lot of the things that you're going to need to know to develop a high income skill, right? The key, the one that you want.
And you may be thinking, what's the catch? Why am I giving this away for free? It's very simple. My business philosophy from very beginning till all these years is add value first.
Right.
I believe when you add value first, people want to do business with you. And then after you read the book, after you go to the masterclass, if you want to continue your education, you want to develop the high income skill, maybe you sign up for my course, maybe not. But that's why we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. All right, thanks a lot, Dan. And thanks, guys, for joining us. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.